What if the reason money keeps slipping through your hands is not because you work too little, pray too little, or dream too little, but because you have been speaking to your life like a victim instead of standing in it like a person with authority? Stay with me, because this may change the way you see everything. Most people wake up and repeat the same tired story. Bills are heavy, doors are closed, nothing moves, and little by little, their own words become the walls around them. But what if one shift, one deep inner decision, one bold sentence spoken with faith and certainty could begin to break that wall? Not someday, now, not when life becomes easy right here in the middle of pressure, debt, delay, and doubt. Listen carefully, because what comes next matters. This is not about pretending problems do not exist. It is about refusing to let problems become your identity. It is about speaking from power instead of panic, from trust instead of fear, from inner certainty instead of outer confusion. And if you stay until the end, you will not just hear words. You will feel a new fire in your spirit, a stronger way of thinking, and a new picture of what your life can become. My friend, if I told you that a few simple words, spoken with conviction, can begin to change the atmosphere around your finances, would you believe me? Maybe not. Maybe you would say, I have heard this before. I have tried affirmations. I have tried hoping. I have tried wishing. And still the rent came. Still the bank account felt tight. Still the future looked small. I understand that feeling. It is frustrating to speak positive words and then look around and see the same old results. But the issue is not always the words. The issue is the weight behind them, the belief under them, the direction of your inner life when you say them. Many people speak good things for 1 minute, then spend the rest of the day speaking fear, replaying lack, and agreeing with defeat. They plant one seed of faith and then flood the ground with doubt. That is why nothing seems to grow. So today, let us slow down and see the truth clearly. Your life is always responding to what you repeatedly accept, repeatedly expect, and repeatedly say. Words are not small. Words are direction. Words are permission. Words are agreement. And when your words, your belief, and your actions begin moving together, things start shifting in ways that used to feel impossible. Most people do not realize how often they instruct their own life towards scarcity. Every time you say, I never have enough, your mind listens, your emotions listen, your habits listen, and slowly your whole life begins to organize around that sentence. Every time you say, nothing ever works for me, you are not just describing a moment, you are building a pattern. That is why so many people stay stuck. Not because they are lazy, not because they are cursed, but because they have learned to speak from what they see instead of from what they want to create. Hear this clearly. Your current situation may be real, but it does not have to become final. A tight season is not your identity. A painful chapter is not your permanent address. If you keep calling yourself trapped, small, late, unlucky, or forgotten, your spirit becomes tired before your future even has a chance to open. This is why you must become careful with your inner language, not fake, not dramatic, just intentional. Stop using your mouth to strengthen the very thing you want to escape. Stop watering the weeds and wondering why the garden feels heavy. There is a better way to speak. There is a cleaner way to think. And when you learn it, you stop feeding fear and start building momentum. The simple phrase at the center of this message is this: I command now. Short words, strong meaning. The first word is I, not because life is all about ego, but because responsibility begins there, change begins there, authority begins there. The second word is command, not beg, not chase, not wonder. Command means you stop speaking like a person waiting outside the door and start speaking like someone who understands that alignment, faith, action, and identity belong together. The third word is now, not next year, not after everything becomes clear, not when you finally feel perfect. Now is where power lives. Now is where decision happens. Now is where movement begins. When you say, I command now, you are not claiming magic. You are ending delay in your own mind. You are refusing to hand your future over to drift, fear, and passive waiting. You are saying, I will no longer postpone my own breakthrough with weak agreement. And no, this does not mean money falls out of the sky while you sit still. It means your inner world finally stops fighting your outer goals. It means you move with sharper faith, clearer thought, and stronger energy. That is where the shift begins. Do not click away, because the next part is where this becomes practical. So, how do you use this without turning it into empty repetition? First, stop begging life to be kind to you. Stop talking as if abundance belongs to other people and struggle belongs to you. When you wake up before the noise of the day begins, sit up, breathe deeply, and speak with calm certainty. I command peace now. I command wisdom now. I command opportunity now. I command increase now. Keep it simple. Keep it clean. Say it like a person giving direction, not a person arguing with doubt. Then let your body match your words. Sit different, walk different, think different. Because if your mouth says one thing and your posture, emotions, and choices say another, you create inner conflict. Second, stop trying to force the how. When you place an order at a restaurant, you do not run into the kitchen to panic over the process. In the same way, once you make a clear inner decision, do not spend the whole day digging it up with fear. Trust does not mean passivity, it means you keep moving without constantly poisoning your own momentum. Third, act in harmony with what you said. If you command increase, become more disciplined. If you command opportunity, answer the call, send the email, learn the skill, start the plan. Inner command without outer action is unfinished energy. There is another truth many people miss. The real battle is not usually outside first, it is inside. The moment you begin speaking differently, an old voice rises up and says, Who do you think you are? Nothing is going to change. You have tried before. That voice is familiar because it has been trained by years of disappointment, fear, and survival thinking. Do not panic when it shows up. Do not fight it with drama. Replace it. When the thought says, it is too late, answer with, my next step still matters. When it says, you are not capable, answer with, I am growing stronger every day. When it says, nothing ever changes, answer with, change is already starting in me. This is how the inner ground becomes ready for something new. Your mind has been listening to fear for a long time. It will not always go silent in one day, but it can be retrained. And every time you answer panic with truth, you weaken the old pattern. Every time you answer lack with vision, you strengthen a new one. This is not about pretending you never feel pressure. It is about refusing to let pressure write your identity. Watch this part closely because people lose momentum here. They speak strong words once, then spend the next 6 hours entertaining weak thoughts. That is like lighting a fire and then pouring water on it all day. Gratitude matters more than most people understand. Gratitude is not just being polite. Gratitude changes the emotional environment where your future grows. When you say thank you before everything is visible, you stop living only by appearances. You stop making your peace wait for external proof. Every morning, before the day pulls on your attention, whisper thank you for what is unfolding. Thank you for wisdom that is coming. Thank you for doors opening. Thank you for strength growing in me. Thank you for provision finding its way. Feel it, even if only for a few seconds. That feeling matters. A grateful heart is open. A fearful heart is closed. A grateful person notices opportunities faster, responds to people better, and thinks more creatively under pressure. That alone changes outcomes. Then carry that spirit into your day. If an expense appears, do not immediately collapse into panic. Pause, breathe, say, "This is not the end of my story. Something better can still emerge from this." That small moment matters. It keeps your energy from dropping into helplessness. It keeps you available for guidance, clarity, and wise response. And yes, this may sound simple, but simple done daily becomes powerful. A scattered life becomes focused through repeated inner order. A fearful life becomes steady through repeated gratitude. A stuck life begins to move because the person inside it is no longer collapsing at every sign of pressure. Now, let me take this deeper. Think of your life like a field. Every belief is a seed. Every repeated sentence is water. Every action is sunlight. If you keep planting fear and then asking for confidence, the field becomes confused. If you keep planting delay and then praying for speed, the field becomes divided. But if you begin planting clear belief, gratitude, discipline, and expectation, things begin to line up. This is why small daily patterns matter more than dramatic emotional moments. One strong night of inspiration cannot replace a week of weak habits. One bold declaration cannot carry a life that constantly returns to complaint. So build a rhythm. In the morning, speak with intention. In the day, act with consistency. At night, review with gratitude instead of shame. Ask yourself, did I feed fear today or faith? Did I speak life or panic? Did I move toward my future or away from it? Be honest, but do not be cruel. Shame does not build anything, clarity does. And if you have been living in survival mode for years, be patient with yourself while staying firm. Growth is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet change in what you tolerate, what you say, what you believe, and what you finally decide to stop repeating. Those quiet changes become visible results later. Stay with me, because this next truth may be the one that unlocks everything. Your first sign of movement may not look huge. It may be one idea, one call, one connection, one chance to earn, learn, build, or reset. Do not despise small beginnings. Many people miss their next chapter because they expected a miracle to look dramatic. But often the first breakthrough comes quietly. A thought drops into your mind. A skill you ignored suddenly looks useful. A person you have not spoken to in years reaches out. A part-time opportunity appears. A forgotten payment comes in. A bill gets reduced. A solution you could not see 2 weeks ago becomes obvious. These things are not always the final harvest. Sometimes they are the first green shoot pushing through the surface. That means your job changes. You do not consume every small breakthrough like it is the final answer. You protect it, you nurture it, you build on it. If an idea comes, write it down and work it. If an opportunity appears, treat it with seriousness. If extra money arrives, manage it with wisdom. This is where maturity matters. Some people receive one small opening and waste it because they only know how to survive, not how to cultivate. But you must become different. You must stop thinking only in terms of relief and start thinking in terms of growth, structure, multiplication, and purpose. A small opening can carry a massive future if you stop treating it like nothing. Patience is part of power. After you speak, act, and align, there is often a stretch of silence. Nothing looks different. The ground seems unchanged. This is where many people ruin what they started. They keep checking, doubting, overthinking, and talking themselves out of the very shift that had already begun. They say, maybe it is not working. Maybe I was foolish. Maybe nothing is happening. But growth often begins before visible evidence. Roots form before fruit appears. Discipline grows before results show. A mind clears before money increases. Confidence strengthens before doors open. If you quit in the hidden phase, you never meet the visible phase. So stop digging up the seed. Stop checking the ground every hour. Stop making one emotional bad day mean the whole process failed. Hold your place. Stay steady. Speak again if needed, but do not speak from panic. Keep your energy clean. Keep your actions wise. Keep your heart open. Some of the strongest transformations happen quietly, under the surface, while you think nothing is changing. And when the result finally breaks through, people call it sudden. But it was not sudden. It was prepared in silence. That is why you must learn endurance, not passive waiting, active trust, calm consistency, refusal to collapse. That is a powerful way to live, and it changes far more than money. Let me add something important here. True increase is not only about getting more, it is about becoming more trustworthy with what comes. If all you want is relief, you may mishandle the very opportunity you prayed for. But if you become wiser, calmer, more disciplined, and more generous, you create room for lasting increase. So when something begins to grow in your life, do not just ask, how can this help me today? Also ask, how can I build this well? How can I use this with wisdom? How can I turn this into something that creates stability, freedom, and blessing beyond this week? This is where a new life begins. You stop living from paycheck panic and start living from vision. You stop treating every gain like a rescue boat and start treating it like seed. Save some, invest some, learn from some, use some to build, use some to bless, because generosity breaks the tight grip of fear. Generosity tells your nervous system, I am not trapped in scarcity. It does not have to be dramatic, it can be small. Buy someone lunch, help quietly, support something meaningful. That simple act keeps your heart open and your identity strong. It reminds you that you are not merely trying to get rich. You are learning to live richly with peace, purpose, clarity, and overflow. That kind of life carries a different energy, and people feel it before you ever explain it. And yes, your environment matters. If you keep surrounding yourself with words, content, and conversations that glorify fear, you make this process harder. If every day you listen to voices that tell you life is hopeless, money is always scarce, and only a lucky few ever rise, your inner ground becomes heavy again. Be selective. Protect your atmosphere. Choose words, music, conversations, and habits that strengthen your mind instead of draining it. Protect what enters your ears. Protect what leaves your mouth. Protect the story you repeat. Some people are not stuck because they lack ability. They are stuck because they rehearse defeat until it sounds reasonable. Do not do that anymore. Fill your life with strong thoughts. Read things that sharpen you. Learn practical skills. Clean your room. Organize your money. Finish delayed tasks. These are not random actions. They tell your mind, I am no longer a prisoner of confusion. Order invites clarity. Clarity invites confidence. Confidence improves decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. That is how one shift leads to another. Not always in one giant moment, but in a chain of deliberate choices. And once that chain begins, life feels different. You think faster, you move cleaner, you recognize what matters, you stop wasting energy on endless inner chaos. That alone can change your whole direction. For the next 7 days, I want you to test this in a real way, not casually, not half heartedly. Take 7 days and speak your command every morning with focus. I command peace now. I command discipline now. I command wisdom now. I command increase now. Then throughout the day, refuse to speak against what you declared. Catch yourself, correct yourself, move differently, walk like your choices matter, handle small tasks like they belong to your next season. If an idea comes, write it down immediately. If a person comes to mind, reach out. If a fear rises, answer it. If an opportunity opens, move. At night, do not end your day by replaying everything wrong. End it by reviewing where you stayed strong, where you grew, and what you noticed. Write down signs, even small ones, a new thought, a calmer response, a useful meeting, a little extra money, a strong idea, a door cracking open. These are not random details. They are evidence that your inner world is no longer frozen. And once the inside moves, the outside eventually follows. Try this honestly for a week and watch what changes in your thinking, your emotions, your energy, and your decisions. That is where real transformation starts. Do not wait for a perfect moment. Start with the life you have today. You also need to understand this. The future is not built only by giant moments, it is built by repeated self agreement. If every day you agree with fear, fear becomes your system. If every day you agree with strength, strength becomes your system. That is why a person can look the same on the outside for a while and still be changing deeply inside. Their speech becomes cleaner, their reactions become calmer, their standards become higher, their energy becomes more directed. They stop chasing everything, they become selective, they stop calling themselves unlucky, they become responsible. They stop drowning in noise. They become intentional. And then one day the external results catch up. New income, new doors, new respect, new peace, not because they found a shortcut, but because they became different long enough for life to respond. This is what many people miss. They want a changed life without a changed pattern of speech, belief, action, and identity. But lasting increase requires all four. Say it, believe it, act on it, become it. That is the sequence, not perfection, alignment, not obsession, direction, not endless waiting, movement. And once you understand this, you stop living like a beggar at the edge of possibility and start living like a builder, a steward, a person who knows that life can still open in ways you have not yet seen. So hear this clearly before we close. You are not powerless. You are not trapped in one old chapter forever. You are not required to keep speaking the language of fear just because fear has been familiar. You can change your inner agreement. You can change your words. You can change your stance. You can change your habits. And as you do, you make room for your life to change shape around a new center. Speak with calm authority. Move with discipline. Hold your ground in silence. Protect small beginnings. Use gratitude like fuel. Use action like proof. Use patience like strength. And whenever pressure tries to drag you back into the old story, answer it with clarity. I command now. I command peace now. I command wisdom now. I command increase now, not as empty noise, as a decision, as a line in the sand, as the end of internal surrender. Let those words become a daily reset, a clear signal to your mind, your habits, and your future. Because the life ahead of you may begin with one sentence, but it will be built by what you do after the sentence is spoken. So speak, stand up, move, stay ready, stay focused. And if something in you is already waking up, do not ignore it. That shift is real. Follow it, use it, build with it. Your next season does not need your fear, it needs your agreement.